If you're unfamiliar with me, my name is Trevor Lecca. I'm Dubsado's Customer Education Specialist, and today's webinar is about time management, which is a big one for our small business owners. I know that a lot of you might be frazzled, but after today's webinar, hopefully we can get you to a place where you feel focused and ready to achieve all your hopes and dreams in your business. Today's guest is a specialist named Lauren Barr. She's one of our Dubsado specialists, and she's been around for the very beginning since our certified specialists were created. She is the founder of The Smarter Creative, and she's really big on automations and systems, but even bigger on saving you time, working smarter and not harder. She's going to give us some practical tools and tips to help you save time in your day-to-day life, and I can't wait to see what tips she has for us today. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on Lauren Barr.
Hi guys, thanks Trevor. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Thanks you guys. All right, there we go. Okay, can everybody see my screen? You good? Thumbs up. Maybe I just want to make sure we can see it. I think so. That's good. Well, yeah, yay, thank you, Trevor. Okay, like Trevor said, we're going to go talk about taking you from frazzled to focus today with some time management strategies. So you are in the right place if you're constantly juggling tasks, feeling overwhelmed. If you're wanting to use Dubsado to harness its full potential to save you time, and you're ultimately ready to reclaim your time, boost productivity, and create a business that thrives, that does not just survive. We're talking time management today, yes, for business success, but ultimately for your personal well-being. So we're going to define time management, make sure we're on the same page. So it means creating a plan to complete your projects. It's just ultimately creating a plan for the day, filling your day with the most essential or productive tasks to achieve your goals. Whether you plan on spending 2 hours in your day working or getting things done, or 10 hours, it's just making sure you're doing the right things first. Just a couple statistics that I pulled together out of the HubStaff report. I won't go through all of them, but just know, I'm going to a couple key facts to let you know you are not alone if you feel this way. That 82% of people don't actually have a time management system, and 80% of people do not feel that their workday is under control each day. And spending 12 minutes a day can eliminate 2 hours of wasted time in your day. Which is just wild. Like, that statistic alone is wild to me. And why don't we do it? Probably because we don't really know how to do it necessarily. All right. So today what we're going to go through are 3 different sections in this webinar. We're going to determine what the most important tasks and productive tasks are for your days. We're going to look at tools and systems for actually managing your days. And then we're going to hit on some Dubsado features to help you manage your time. Before we get started, I'm Lauren Barr, how Trevor introduced me. I am formerly a COO in the restaurant industry. I was a creative director for a season, and I'm now a fairy biz mother, what I like to call myself, helping the back end support for small businesses. My husband and I collectively, we own 3 businesses right now. So I know a lot about having a lot to do day to day within businesses. I used to be super stressed out trying to do it all, getting really frustrated that I wasn't moving the ball forward. And I now live and work at a slower but smarter pace, a pace that I'm deciding on for myself because of the skills and systems that I learned that I'm sharing with you today. So I've definitely been the frazzled one many times over in my past. So yeah, you are not alone. I love this quote from Seth Godin. You do not need more time in your day. You just need to decide what is important. And that is what we're going to start with today. So determining what the most productive tasks are for your day. And we're going to start with the Eisenhower matrix. This is an incredibly simple tool that can really help you figure out what to prioritize in a day. Dwight D. Eisenhower said, "What is urgent is seldom important, and what is important is seldom urgent." So he created this fun matrix that kind of gauges urgency versus importance. And it is especially useful to help you prioritize your tasks and the things that you need to do on a day-to-day basis by urgency and importance. And it helps you figure out what you can delegate, what you can remove, what can wait to later in the day. Like, it just helps sort out your actual tasks of what you have to figure out what you need to focus on. Because whenever you're doing task X, it means you're saying no to tasks Y and Z, or just items Y and Z. Whatever you're saying, giving a yes to, it means you're giving a no to something else. So we're really trying to make sure our yeses are going to the right things that help move us and our businesses forward. So if you consider everything that you do in a day or in a week, from meetings to client work to calls that you have to make, to runs to the doctor, to the support you need to give to your family, all of those things have a certain level of urgency and importance that you really want to figure out where they belong in these 4 quadrants. So we're going to talk about each of the 4 quadrants and what they each mean, and help you to figure out, like, okay, what do I do in my day that is in one of these quadrants that could be distracting me from focusing on the right thing. Y'all, let me know if I'm speaking way too fast or not fast enough. I feel in my head I'm talking at a 2x speed, but it might not be down below. But anyways, you can chat in and say, "Lauren, please slow down." So the first one we're going to hit on is the upper right quadrant of the Eisenhower matrix, the super high important, high urgency items. These are like major deadline driven projects, deliverables, reviews you have to do, things that you've promised people that have to get done. Could be you're ready to hire people and you're ready to make that move. These are highly important, highly urgent. It also includes crises for your business or personal crises that can pop up. So family health troubles, if it's a client emergency that came up that you have to tend to right then and there. So items in here should be the ones that demand the most focused attention, and the ones that you have to just deal with immediately. Like, they have to get done. You can't ignore these items in your day or in your week. They are just like blaring. Nothing else matters unless you get these done. The next quadrant that we have is going to be the opposite. So your low importance, low urgency. And in super crude terms, these are just time-sucking, low payoff activities. So scrolling social media. I don't know if you guys have any things that you do during a day that you would call a time suck. If you want to let me know in the comments, I'd love to hear them. Mine are definitely scrolling social media for content inspiration, but not actually posting to social media, or organizing the files of my online on my computer, like my download files, going through and organizing them, which is not important. And it's certainly not urgent. It's helpful, but it's not that important or urgent. So these are items that you should be spending little or no energy on at all, truly. If you're going to be focused in your day, focused instead of frazzled, to understand what you're just wasting time on in your day, and figuring out how you can omit those things, reduce these things, automate some of the things that you might be doing. So you really have to be honest with yourself of, what am I doing in my days that's quite literally a waste of time. The next quadrant up is low important, high urgency things. This is a little tricky and a little seductive because it offers immediate gratification. When you are doing tasks in this quadrant, you feel like you're getting a lot done. You're immersed in activities, they feel productive, and you might start your day here. Maybe you check all your client emails and you see all of their urgent items come through that aren't necessarily important to you and your business, but you handle all of their urgent tasks first and respond to all of those things. You answered 63 email requests, you responded to 5 DMs, and you managed to like post something to Instagram that you weren't thinking you were going to post. And then you take a break for lunch. And after lunch, you're like, okay, now I'm really going to go get to work and work on the important stuff. So we need to ask ourselves is how do we deprioritize in our days things that land in this quadrant? Or even better, can you delegate some of these items that land here to other people? But delegation, maybe we're not all ready for delegation. So a good habit to get into is to actually save these low important, high urgency tasks that do come up on a daily basis. Like we're not looking to ignore them. They do come up, but to save them for a part of your day when your energy is a little bit lower. So a lot of people have high creative energy in the mornings. It's like their best working time. And so to give that best working time that you have to what's truly important to you and your business. And then at the end of your day, maybe you schedule an hour in the afternoon or keep those high urgency items to an hour, like you put a cap on it, but you structure it so that you're not just wasting time here and you're just like pedaling your feet forward, not actually moving the needle forward for you and your business. And we're getting out of what's called like the tyranny of the urgent. We're getting out of everybody saying they need things, and they probably do, but what's important to you? That's like, you do want to provide quality customer service, but with a 24-hour response rate, or like by the end of day, you're going to respond to them. That doesn't mean you have to respond the minute the email comes in. You can put boundaries around when you respond. So that's our time suck quadrant for sure, or at least my time suck quadrant for sure. Then the opposite one is high importance but low urgency. And this is a challenging quadrant because it offers long-term big payoffs, but it doesn't, like the things that you do here don't vibrate with urgency. They don't have that same dopamine hit of, I just got something done. Like they don't feel the same as any high urgency items do. But this quadrant is where we find innovation for our businesses. Where do I want to be in 3 years? How am I going to get there? More strategy lies in here. How am I going to differentiate myself? What services am I going to offer in 6 months, 12 months? Your own professional development lies here for you to grow your trainings, your resources, like whatever it takes for you to run your business better. These are high importance, low urgency. And even a lot of times, at least for frazzled entrepreneurs, like I have definitely been and still am on some days, personal matters, exercise, family things, just leisure time, rest time, your health, a lot of that's all super highly important, but there's no there's no day-to-day urgency for it, right? Like my husband's going to be there tomorrow. It's not urgent to spend time with them today. I can always go on vacation another time. Like it's important, but there's no urgency to it. I can't even talk about exercise of the low urgency towards it, but I know it's important. And so if you fall into the tragedy of not actually doing things in this quadrant, it's super common, and you might just leave things simmering on the back burner. You might have things that you wanted to get started, get launched in your business for the past 12, 18 months, 6 months, whatever, and you've not taken any action on it because it's never been urgent to you to do it. So this is where we want to actually plan and devote actual time to items in this quadrant to push our businesses forward and hopefully increase them. Like maybe they're low urgency, but on a day where you don't have a lot of high importance, high urgency tasks, you can actually be like, ooh, we're going to bump that up, bump my email newsletter rhythm cadence up to a high urgency, because like we're there now, we're living there now. Like I'm excited to launch this now, and you can put urgency on it. Most of us spend the wrong time in the wrong quadrants. It's totally okay. Well, it's not okay, but we just need to be aware of it. It's okay if you're there now. We can always get better tomorrow. We just have to be really judicious about how we prioritize and figuring out ways to delegate, automate, eliminate, and just put boundaries up around us. So I have a way, like you can do this Eisenhower matrix, like literally like just write it down on a piece of paper. You can do it on a wall with sticky notes. I've got a Canva doc. Let me see here if I can show it to y'all. The QR code here has it, but I went looking for a Eisenhower matrix in the Canva library of whiteboards, and there wasn't one. I was just like, what on earth? So if you want to actually use like sticky notes for all of your tasks that you have to do, projects that you have to do for your days or your weeks, whatever makes most sense to you and your brain, you can drop them on sticky notes and then put them in the right category of where they belong. And this is just to help you prioritize what's most important. So I think Trevor might even have a link to you guys if you don't have the here. I think I even have it here. The matrix if you're on your phone without a QR code or something. But yeah, so if you want to use that, you are welcome to. And get back to where I was. Okay. So we are figuring out ways to prioritize our days, figure out what's the most important things to work on. Ultimately, though, you don't know what's highly important to you unless you know where you're going. So we have to hit on goal setting real quick. And goal setting, I don't know about y'all, but sometimes goal setting gives like cringe. It makes me cringe. Like this pressure. I don't know what it is, but goal setting, it's like, oh, I don't know about this. I don't know if it's like hustle culture or what, but there's actual evidence, like research that shows that having goals is a happiness boost. Like it actually helps our mood and overall sense of well-being, because having something to look forward to, and that you're you're living your life towards a goal, it provides a sense of purpose, and it actually is like excitement when you're pursuing something meaningful, and it can suppress negative emotions and mitigate feelings of fear and depression because you know what you're working towards. You have that goal in front of you. Having goals makes life easier by offering clear direction for your days, and it breaks the cycle of feeling like you're stuck or in a rut. Is goal setting. Oh yeah, thank you, Trevor, for dropping that in as well. So just a couple notes before you like set personal goals for yourself is to really take a closer look at what you're trying to achieve. And these could be personal goals, business goals, whatever like you are looking to enhance in your life. But there's 3 questions you have to ask yourself before you set a goal. And the first one, it sounds just too simple, but is this a goal something you truly want? Like, do I actually want this? Or is it something that society has told me I should be going for? is this goal something you want, or is it something you feel like you should be doing? Like, is it something that you actually truly want? The second question is, does it align with your other values or your other goals that you have? And values could be, yeah, your business values, mission, vision, values type stuff, but also your personal values of what you hold near and dear to your heart, which if you don't have those, like that's a whole nother workshop on personal values and living by them. But yeah, having goals that are in congruence with the rest of everything that you're working on in the rest of your life. And the third question to ask is it important enough to pour hours of time and effort into? Or is it just going to sit in that bottom matrix quadrant and never actually propel you forward into having any kind of urgency to get it done? Do you actually want to work on the goal? If you don't want to work on the goal, it's not a goal worth having. So ask yourself with these items. And you can have long-term goals, you can have short-term goals, but ideally, you don't have a lot of goals. You should only be like mentally focused on maybe 3 goals at a time. You can just stick, like narrow how many goals you might have in front of you that you're working towards. So for goals, we're talking about a few ways of like tips in setting goals. And so very, very, very common way of setting goals is having a SMART goal, right? They should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. And specific and measurable just helps you know exactly what you are looking to work towards. So if you want 5 new clients in November, or you want to hit $15,000 month over month come January, like that is a very specific and measurable goal because you'll either hit it or you won't. We don't want vague goals. We don't want to just increase sales in the new year. But what does that mean? And is it motivating enough to get you to act on it? And they should also be attainable to you. Having a goal that is too big, too lofty can have the opposite effect of a good goal. It can actually be discouraging to you if you know you're never going to make it. Like that can be a goal for future you. If a goal is so big, if you know you want $50,000 months in your business and you want to be there, but right now you are at $5,000 months or 10, like whatever. Like that's a big jump to make in 6 months or whatever that goal is. So how do we get that goal down to be more attainable for you to actually be encouraged to work towards? And they also need to be relevant. And this goes back to the first question that you would have. Is it aligned with your other values and business goals? Like, is it relevant to you? And is it time-based? Because you really should know, like, oh, I'm going to hit this by this date. And it just gives you some structure around your goal to know what you're working towards. I'm sure we all know SMART goals. Okay, so our next thing is that I highly, highly, highly recommend when it comes to goal setting is writing them down. And I mean that in 2 different sides. One, once you've defined them, writing them down and having them in front of you in a place where you can look at them often and know what it is that you're working towards on a day-to-day basis. That could literally be a sticky note on your monitor, on your wall. It could be a screensaver on your iPhone or your desktop picture on your computer. It could be a Notion page or somewhere that you go to on a daily basis where you see your goals written out to remind you what you're working towards, right? Because if they're aspiring to you, you're excited to work on them, you want to be reminded of like, oh yeah, this is where I'm going. So write them down so you can see them. But also writing your goals down in general and like processing through them. And I literally mean like long form, grab a pen and paper and start writing your goals down. It helps you to clarify and put words around what you want to do, how you want to do it. It starts to bring the existential stuff that's in your head into like tangible reality. Like there's some magic that happens around writing, literally writing things down and working it out. So I definitely just encourage you to get a pen and paper out, to literally write down your goals. And then once you know what your goals are, you know where you're going, you have to make a plan. Create a plan for how you're going to reach your goal and then commit to it. And that's not what today's about. Today is about, time management and things, but you have to know so you can prioritize those things. So that's a whole nother course. There is an awesome book called The 12-Week Year that talks about setting some really great goals, creating a plan to hit them, that really helped me get my mind wrapped around what it looks like to set a goal and to take action in my days and my weeks to hit that goal. So the 12-Week Year is a great resource if you're really looking for more information on what goal setting looks like. So now we have talked about the ways to prioritize your days. You have to know what you're going to work on day to day and not just get lost in the tyranny of the urgent, the treadmill of client work where like you just can't get out of it. So here's some tools and systems to actually help you manage your days. So the first one I have is Brian Tracy's Eat That Frog. Oh, and before, I'm just going to go back. I don't want to even get distracted yet. These tools and systems, they are here as a suggestion. Like this might work for you. It could also not at all work for you. You could hear Brian Tracy's way of doing things and you're just like, oh my gosh, no, I could never do that. That's not how my brain works. And that is okay. Like I'm giving you a few different options of ways to work your days, to look at your days, to help you with time management, to find a way that does work for your brain. So you can try something out, and if it doesn't work for you, that's totally okay. We're all built so differently. Different things encourage us to move forward, help us to get focused. So I want to say that before I get into it. Okay, so Eat That Frog. So this is a philosophy from Brian Tracy. It's a really powerful metaphor for tackling procrastination and achieving peak productivity. And the idea is simple. Your frog is your biggest, most important, almost ugliest task for the day. The thing that you're most likely wanting to put off if you don't do something about it. Like, you're gonna be like, oh, I'll get to that later. I'll get to that later. If you just don't do it. So eating the frog means tackling this task first thing in the morning, getting it out of the way. Just getting it done, just biting the bullet and saying, okay, I'm gonna do that thing that I've been putting off that I don't want to do. And his philosophy is like, it actually sets a positive tone for the rest of the day because you just tackled a beast of a task that you were going to put off otherwise. It's not looming over top of your head. You're now free, for your energy is free to do other things. Or maybe that was your biggest thing of the day that you needed to get done. And now you don't have to be at your desk the rest of the day. You can actually go do something different. By eating the frog, it actually builds momentum. So if you complete a difficult task early, it creates a sense of accomplishment and motivation that actually carries you through the day. Like, you got that thing done. Let's celebrate. Great. And then again, it gives you focus so you don't get bogged down in less important activities. So if your frog's up in this high urgent, high important task, but you just don't want to do it. Maybe it's a phone call you're dreading. You don't want to do it. We can easily find ourselves in low important, low urgent items where we're scrolling social media. We are washing things that are already clean. Like, I don't know, whatever your go-to distraction things are, we can live in that quadrant of our matrix because we're avoiding our big frog task of the day. And really, once you do it, the worst thing is over. And real life example, I've had on my to-do for a week to call, and this is not work related, but it was looming over me. I needed to call the dentist because I've recently gotten health insurance and dental insurance, and I wasn't expecting, like, my dental bill came in. I was like, wait, how does this work with my insurance? Like, I need somebody to talk this through with me. But I was dreading that call because I didn't know what I was talking about. I've never had to, like, I don't talk in medical billing. If you do, God bless you. But that's not me. So, like, I'm putting it off. I don't want to do it. And finally, yesterday, I buckled down. I was like, Lauren, just do it. Just make the call. And it was so simple. It was so easy. Like, the rest of my day, I felt so much lighter. I had it on my to-do list. I checked it off. I was like, okay, like this is much better. So to eat your frog, you need to first identify your frog. What is the thing? And you do this either first thing in the morning, or even a lot of people do it at the end of the day, the night before, when you wrap up your work. It's like, okay, what do I want to work on tomorrow? So you have a plan going into the next day. So what's the most important thing on your to-do list? That is your frog. And then you commit to eating it. You make a conscious decision to tackle that task first before anything else. And to help you with that, you eliminate distractions. So you find a quiet workspace, turn off your notifications, and create an environment that helps you stay focused. And I can't even tell you how much your environment just talks so much into getting you into a flow zone of, so yeah, your music, your quietness, headphones, like noise blocking headphones, if you're in an environment that isn't quiet, just to help you focus in. And then just start, like, literally just start the task. Don't overthink it. Just begin. And if you need to, like, trick your brain, I literally have, like, this little timer. I'll set it. It sits on my desk all the time. I'll set it for 5 minutes, and I don't turn the sound on, the alarm on, but I have the freedom of, once my 5 minutes is up, I can walk away from my task, or I can keep going. And like 99% of the time, I keep going, because the hardest thing is starting. It's to actually go in. And then just make sure you resist the urge to switch from other tasks. Multitasking for productivity is not a real thing. It is, your brain literally cannot multitask. So it's just a distraction from taking you to the other thing. So get yourself in a focus and start until it's done. And if the frog is too big, if you're just like, I cannot do all of that, you need to break it up into smaller pieces, into tadpoles, and have it smaller. So you can set a timer. You can start working on, maybe not the project as a whole. So maybe you have a wedding album to edit, and like that task alone is way too big of a task. But maybe your first task of your frog for the day is calling the images and going through everything. And like that, like, yeah, you have the bigger project, but what's the first frog? What's the first to do of that can help you push forward? So by consistently eating the frog each day, you actually develop a really powerful habit that fuels your productivity and helps you achieve your goal. And it's amazing. I've got my husband doing this, and he, like, writes his things down. It's like, okay, I'm gonna do this one first. So it really is helpful if it's how your brain works. Another thing that's, if like you hear the word goals and you go like, oh, Lauren, stop talking, I blacked out, I didn't want to hear anything about that. Me and goals do not have a relationship. James Clear's Atomic Habits book is phenomenal. It is a practical and actionable framework that helps you build good habits and break the bad ones. And it's a book that he has out. It's so good. So the core idea is that small incremental improvements compound over time, and then those compound and lead to significant results. And a favorite quote of his is, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. They, like, grow and grow and grow for you to live your best life. So the whole thing that he has is to focus on systems, not goals. Goals are about the results you want to achieve, but systems are the actual processes that lead you to those results. So James Clear emphasizes building sustainable systems that supports your desired behaviors that would get you to your goal. And he talks about getting 1% better every day. And this is true for this entire workshop, y'all. So instead of aiming for drastic changes, focus on making tiny, small improvements each day and get better at small things. You can't, like, you will not be able to implement all of these things at once. Like, you have to pick something to get better at and to help you get more focused, the thing that's calling to you. And then all of these small wins each and every day, again, they compound and they lead to significant progress. So his his laws of behavior change for actually creating the habits is to make it obvious, to increase your awareness of the habits that you currently have, and to design your environment to make the desired habits that you want even easier. Make it attractive. There's such, this is why we want to have goals that we actually want to have. There's a lot of positive feelings and like rewards that are associated with our behavior. So if we don't actually want something, or we're not going to act on it as human beings, like we're not. We need to make it attractive for ourselves. So in order to do that, you can, if you have a habit of something you need to do, you would tag it onto something that you want to do. So maybe it's, you need to walk in your treadmill or ride your stationary bike for health. So you do that while you watch Netflix. Or you need to do, I don't know, something else you have to do that you're not looking forward to. Can you pair that with something that you are enjoying? Or you have a favorite cup of tea while you are doing something that you're not looking forward to doing. So anyways, we need like attractive things. Make your habits easy, like literally like simplifying the steps involved to get you to the right behavior. Just they need to be simple and easy. Same with like your frogs. Your frogs are hard, but they need to be small enough that you can actually achieve them and like knock them out. And then make it satisfying. Rewards are repeated and what is punished is avoided, like in our minds. Like, so when we feel good, we'll repeat those actions. And if we feel punished, we'll avoid those actions. So we need to make sure if we reward ourselves for the good habits, and he suggests is you really do reward yourself, that they're immediate and enjoyable, and like you're giving yourself the feel goods for actually taking the actions in your life that you want to see, that you know are going to make a difference in your life. So hold please. So instead of trying to overhaul your entire schedule at once, this goes for all of us, just focus on implementing a small change at a time. Minimize your distractions as always. Like this, that's a key thing. And and track your time. So that's Atomic Habits, which is a super neat variation to goal setting. I want to talk about time blocking as well. So time blocking is a tool that helps you get into flow. So it's what the Eat That Frog is kind of a time block theory as well. Just like you're doing your hardest thing first. And ultimately we're trying to get things done. So time blocking, like literally is dividing your day into specific blocks of time dedicated to particular tasks or activities, and it's creating a personalized schedule for your day where each block has a designated purpose. And what's great about it is it enhances focus by minimizing your multitasking and distractions. You can just concentrate fully on one task at a time. And that will also then improve efficiency because you're not switching places all over the place, right? We're just working on one thing at a time and getting it done. It helps increase your awareness of time. When I'm not purposeful with my days, I lose time. Like I'll get to the 3-4 o'clock hour in the day and I'm like, wait, what did I do today? in like, because I wasn't purposeful. I didn't plan my day. It's that whole like, if you take 12 minutes to plan your day, you save 2 hours of you get 2 hours of time back from the beginning. Like if you just need to be mindful of how you're spending time in your day. So time blocking actually like shows you, it really puts nuts to bolts how you're spending your time in your day. And you can figure out ways to either improve, consolidate, tell it like you can, it just, it's good for long-term things. Time blocking can reduce stress and overwhelm. Knowing what you need to work on and when can create a sense of control and reduce the feeling of being constantly overwhelmed. If you know you check email, like you check your emails, maybe you check it at 9 a.m. for 30 minutes, and then you check it again at 4 p.m. or something, like you put blocks around it, knowing that you're gonna check it when you check it, and you can mentally then be like, nope, I'll get to it when I'm supposed to. Like it doesn't have to be over my head right now. Like I know I'm going to get to it. So we do not want to be constantly overwhelmed and letting things come to us all the time. We actually get to be in control of how we spend our time to a certain degree. Like things come up for sure, but more and more we can put boundaries in place and figure out how we want to spend our time. And time blocking really does help get you into a flow state. A flow state is where you're fully immersed in the task and like you experience peak productivity and creativity, where you're so like mentally focused on doing something, you lose track of time. Like you have no idea what's happening. You're just able to focus on it and do it. That's your flow state. So to implement time blocking, we need to identify our priorities. What is it we want to work on, which we did with our goals and tasks and Eisenhower matrix. So review your to-do list, identify the most important tasks that need to be completed, put actual time estimates to those tasks. So if you have time durations that you think you'll get something done, put that, and then okay, like that's this project, this thing's going to take me 2 hours, 45 minutes, whatever. And now you can start dragging it onto your calendar to actually create your blocks of time for how long you're going to do things. And when you're blocking out your calendar, you want to make sure you are thinking about your energy level as you create your blocks, because all of us have different energy levels throughout the day. You might be most productive and creative at 7 a.m., right when you get up. Like my brain does not turn on until 10 a.m. So that would not be me. So you need to work with your brain, your energy. Nobody can tell you the best time for you to work. Like it's only, that because it isn't. We're each built so differently. We have to find that out for ourselves. Make sure you're flexible with your time blocking. You need to actually think about buffer times, lunches, drive times, and then so you aren't putting such tight parameters around it to be able to adjust your schedule as needed. And then at the end of it, like review how it worked and refine it. This is a system in motion for you. It is a thing to serve you. Maybe blocking your time to a 45-minute task isn't ideal. Maybe you would rather block out a morning to do admin tasks and all the things you need to get done, and having a general time block is enough for you. Or there's an agency that is in town where I live, and they do time blocking days. So like as an entire team agency, they do client calls on Tuesdays, they do team stuff on Mondays, they do client work Wednesdays and Thursdays, and Fridays are just for like, I don't know, so not busy work, but like do your own stuff type work. And so as they have days as an entire organization where they focus on all these things, so that if you're working on a website and you've got a question about it, you really shouldn't be working on those until Wednesday or Thursday. So if you ask me about it on Monday, like you're causing us all to be off. So it's great. They communicate that really well with their clients as well. As long as your clients know when you're working and like what that looks like, and you communicate, they're going to be flexible to that. Like I don't know, we all want the best for one another. Like people are generally like pretty cool people. So yeah, and then that is it. So to do time blocking, you can do it like on a physical planner. You can do it in your Outlook or a Gmail calendar. I use a tool called Sunsama, Sunsama, that I am obsessed with. And it helps me put my like time to tasks, and I can see what I'm working on throughout the day. Sometimes I time block, sometimes I don't, just depends on my mood. Yeah, you can batch your similar tasks together and just experience with it. And ultimately, remember that the goal of time blocking is not to rigidly adhere to a schedule, but it's just to create a structure that supports you and your productivity to help you achieve your goals. Which comes to my point here. Productivity is not the prize. Like we live in a culture that glorifies busyness and productivity. And as entrepreneurs, we often feel pressure to constantly hustle and grind. But productivity is not the ultimate goal. Our true prize is a life well lived. It's about creating a business and a lifestyle that supports your well-being, your relationships, your overall happiness. So time management is not about squeezing more tasks into your day. It's about actually creating space for what truly matters in your life. We're not talking today about getting more things done. We're talking about getting the right things done in a way that honors your energy, your values, your long-term goals. We're talking about building a sustainable business that fuels your passion. It doesn't literally drain your soul from you. So last part is using some Dubsado features to help you manage your time. And these are things you might be familiar with. They might be new to you. You just might not be using them to the full advantage. Our first point is automate your lead nurtures and follow-ups. Dubsado's workflows can send emails and follow-ups for new leads that come in. After a proposal is sent out, it can remind them to send, if a contract's not signed, it can remind them to send all of those like check-ins that sit in the brain, right? That are on a checklist. Oh, follow up with that person. They reached out to you last week. That shouldn't be in our brains with Dubsado anyways. Like Dubsado can literally follow up. Even if you don't want Dubsado to like automatically send stuff, like you can set automated triggers for approval so you have your eyes on it before it goes out, but it reminds you to follow up. So it doesn't have to be on your radar until you get that notification email and then be like, oh yeah, I'm going to follow up with that person. And then your scheduled break, because that might be urgent. And it is kind of important, but like it's not important to the day. Like it's not something that's going to be burning down. But you do need to follow up with them. Anyways, so yeah, that is the automations that Dubsado has is amazing and just can save you countless hours for your time and follow up. And it also is really good for your clients because it improves communication between you and them and can help with lead conversion and just overall client success and happiness. The next thing is using schedulers. Obviously, by using the Dubsado scheduler, it removes the back and forth of when are you available? When are you available? Well, how about this day? Well, how about this day? Like it takes that work off your plate, but it also allows you to set your availability and hold to it. So in your time blocking in your ideal days, when you're thinking about how you want to spend your days and your weeks, you know, like, oh, I'm going to take client calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 1 to 4. And you can set the scheduler up to only take client calls on those days, and it puts boundaries to you and what you really want to focus on and do. You can always tell them, hey, if you don't see a time that works for you, let me know, and you can open up more times on the calendar. But it really helps respect boundaries, and it prevents overbooking as well, which then you have to go back and do. If your scheduler is set up right, it will make sure that everybody who has a time slot, like it's their time slot, and like you're not worrying about, oh no, I forgot I had this event on this day, like I need to reschedule with this person. Like that's just more headaches than any of us want to deal with at all. And the last thing I want to point out is you can use templates for common documents, contracts. You never, ever want to start a form from scratch. The best way to use a template in your proposals and forms and questionnaires and everything is to have them in your template section of Dubsado and then copy them onto a client project and make changes to them before sending them out there. I've seen it happen where people are creating like a new template for each of their clients, and my head wants to explode because it just can be so much simpler for you. And yeah, even your contracts can use smart fields to pull from your invoice line items. Like they work for you so much. And by relieving you of this admin work, it saves you time. It saves you time from having to overly edit them. You might still edit them for sure. Like I get that. Like we're not trying to like put everything on autopilot, but we're trying to set ourselves up to have enough on autopilot that we're not having to constantly be mentally absorbed into what it is. So to have a clear like structure of, okay, this is how I work with my clients. I send them this form at this time. I follow up with them at this point. Like by having that structured out, it'll just save you so much mental energy and time. It'll get you time back because you're not having to make it up for every single client that comes in. So yeah, definitely, it's just like a couple of the ways that Dubsado can save you time. There's even more automations and things that can happen around it. If you want to dive deeper into what Dubsado does, their whole YouTube channel, like where if you're watching the replay on or found this on YouTube, the whole YouTube channel is amazing with tips. There's all kinds of creators out there who are creating tips as well. And I do Dubsado setups as well for people to get them done. And then I also have a society that I want to share with you guys just super, super real quick. And then we'll go into Q&A after this. But if you enjoyed learning from me and you dug my vibe and whatever, like this is what I do for people. So in the society, I answer tech questions. We strategize with the best ways to work. We talk values in your business. I do quarterly workshops to help you succeed in your business, and do Q&A like office hours to help figure out your tech issues, Dubsado, but also all different kinds of tech issues. And it's just a really sweet community. So it is only $49 a month. And if you use the code workshop by September 15th, you will save $10 a month for however long you're a member. And I'd love for you guys to stay in touch. I'm at The Smarter Creative on YouTube, Instagram, and I've been digging threads lately, so you can find me there. I'd love to chat with you, slide into my DMs if this helped you. But yeah, this is Q&A time. So Trevor, if you'll probably stop screen sharing.
There we go. Yeah, no worries. I can tell it to stop screen sharing. Perfect. There we go. Thank you so much for all that. That was really informative. And I got a lot out of that personally. And I'm actually a little bit familiar with some of those concepts already, which I thought was really cool. I know that probably most of us have heard some of these things. And it's the kind of thing where you actually take the concepts like, oh, I need to work on time management. And it goes into the situation where you're like, I'm just going to ignore that for a little while longer. So you end up having to time manage your time management. At least that's me. I don't know, but I don't know, just a quick anecdote. And by the way, while I'm chatting, folks, if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. We'll be happy to answer them here live on stream. But back when I was in college, I actually had that phrase "eat the frog" written on a sticky notes or like a note card, and I tacked it to my board above my desk because I had learned about that concept and it really resonated with me. It's definitely an odd phrase. My roommate was like, "Why does it say?"
I actually hate the phrase, but yeah. I like the concept.
Itself is, I think, really fantastic. So yeah, no, I really appreciate all that. That was really, really well done. One thing I want to call out to our viewers as well is last week, actually a week ago today, I did a separate webinar on some built-in automations in Dubsado. And a lot of the things that I discussed are actually really fall into this category of being able to save you time, because they're those little things, those little nitpicky things that might be, you know, low on the importance scale, but ultimately you want to make sure you get them done. If you're doing all those things manually, you'll find yourself, you know, down an hour or two when you could have let Dubsado automate them for you. So I'm going to drop the link in the chat to last week's webinar if you haven't caught it just yet. This webinar right now will synergize really well with last week's webinar, talking about how to kind of do some of those things automatically.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Right now, I don't see any questions that need to get answered just yet. We'll give folks just another minute or two, but I really appreciate you being here with us, Lauren. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed putting these thoughts on time management into my own life, and it has immensely helped my quality of life.
Oh, exactly right. Not just even your business, but it can help you kind of achieve things outside of the business realm as well, which is always really nice to do.
Yes.
You know, and it's like I mentioned kind of at the outset, it's working smarter, not harder, and making sure that your business is working for you, and it doesn't have, your whole life doesn't have to be about your business. So you can take these concepts and apply them elsewhere, which is fantastic.
Yes, and yes.
All right. Very cool. I don't see any questions coming in. So Lauren, I think we're going to give you some of your time back. I really appreciate you being here with us today. Like I said, folks, if you're looking for the recording, it'll be emailed to you a couple hours after we sign off here in just a moment. And then I'll post this to YouTube later today as well. But I appreciate everyone's time, everyone taking their time, managing their time to be here, obviously, today. And hopefully this has been really helpful for y'all. But otherwise, we'll catch you next week on our webinar going over recurring invoices. So if you're a fan of webinars, stay tuned for that. Thank you both. Thank you both for our audience and Lauren. Everyone else, have a great rest of your day. Okay. Thanks.